thank you in Finnish. Oh, c'est vraiment une équipe française. Hein?
Oh, c'est un beau voyage.
Vous savez, on est camarades de classe depuis l'âge de 10 ans.
C'était à l'époque où tout le monde était un peu plus francophone.
C'est combien d'heures de vol
C'était 7 heures. Ouais, mais si on prend le vol direct, c'est 7 heures. Ici, il y a
全国人大常委会委员长赵乐际29号在北京会见芬兰总统斯图布。赵乐际表示，中芬建交74年来，两国关系始终保持良好发展势头，成为不同幅员、不同文化、不同制度国家和平共处、友好交往的典范。中方愿同芬方一道，落实好习近平主席同斯图布总统达成的重要共识，增进战略互信，深化互利合作，密切人文交流，加强多边协作，推动中芬面向未来的新型合作伙伴关系行稳致远。中国全国人大愿同芬兰议会赓续传统友好，密切交流合作，加强立法监督、治国理政等经验交流，为推动中芬关系发展贡献力量。斯图布表示，芬方重视对华关系，愿同中方扩大各领域交流合作，密切立法机构交往，支持多边主义和自由贸易，携手应对全球性挑战。彭清华参加会见。29号，国务院总理李强在京会见芬兰总统斯图布。李强表示，近年来两国关系保持良好发展势头，各领域互利合作不断推进。习近平主席同总统先生举行会谈，为进一步深化中芬关系作出新的战略规划。中方愿同芬方一道，落实好两国元首重要共识，弘扬传统友谊，增进政治互信，坚持开放合作，深化经贸、科技、人文等领域交流合作，促进更高水平互利共赢，推动两国关系与合作不断迈上新台阶，携手构建人类命运共同体。斯图布表示，当前芬中关系发展势头良好，芬方期待同中方加强各层级交往，深化经贸、农业、绿色能源、应对气候变化等领域合作，密切人文交流。芬方愿推动欧中经贸关系平稳发展。吴正龙参加会见。国家主席习近平29号下午在人民大会堂北大厅举行仪式，欢迎芬兰共和国总统亚历山大·斯图布对我国进行国事访问。天安门广场上鸣礼炮21响。习近平主席夫人彭丽媛、中共中央政治局委员、中央外事工作委员会办公室主任王毅等出席欢迎仪式。陪同斯图布访华的有总统夫人、环境和气候变化部长、农林部长等。军乐团奏芬中两国国歌。
图部在习近平陪同下检阅中国人民解放军仪仗队。两国元首回到检阅台，观看仪仗队分列式。司徒部适应习近平邀请，对我国进行国事访问。
我很高兴啊，同总统先生会面，我们算是再次会面。上次我们见面已经是14年前了。你担任总统后，将中国列为首批出访国家之一，充分体现了对中芬关系的高度重视。芬兰是最早一批同新中国建交的西方国家之一，也是第一个同中国签订政府间贸易协定的西方国家。建交以来，无论国际形势如何变化，中芬始终友好相处，互尊互信，树立了国与国之间超越历史、文化、制度差异、平等交往的典范。
Mr. President, thank you very much, 谢谢 for your warm welcome. It's nice to be back. I think our first meeting here was in 2009. And as you said, the world was a very different place. But probably most importantly from our perspective is that China has grown in that 14-15-year period in a way which was unimaginable for so many. And next year we'll be celebrating our 75th year together. It's very easy to say our bilateral relations are excellent.
不久前召开的中国共产党20届3中全会，明确对进一步全面深化改革、推进中国式现代化做出了系统部署，这将给中芬两国合作以及全球发展带来新动力、新机遇。我愿同你一道，引领两国加强战略合作，弘扬友好传统，将中芬面向未来的新型合作伙伴关系进一步推向前进，更好造福两国和两国人民，为世界和平和发展做出新的贡献。
Negotiations about the Chinese EVs between China and the EU have been ongoing recently. What role that Finland can play in the process of the China and EU dialogue?
Okay. Now, on trade, we decide on majority votes. So you had Germany voting against, you had France voting in favor, you had a country like Finland abstaining. And for China, the biggest internal market in the world is the European Union. So my worry is that we're going into a cycle of tariffs, of trade escalation, etc., etc. We need to avoid that. We need to have a level playing field.
Joint ventures that we've had over the years.
So my worry is that we're going into a cycle of tariffs, of trade escalation, etc., etc. We need to avoid that. We need to have a level playing field. And this is the ongoing negotiation.
Well, during the meeting, President Xi emphasized the exceptional value of this future-oriented, new type cooperative partnership. Well, during the meeting, President Xi emphasized the exceptional value of this future-oriented, new type cooperative partnership. What is your understanding of this uniqueness of this partnership?
The uniqueness comes from the fact that I think we can trust each other. When we talk about trade, when we talk about business, when we talk about innovation. So that's why I had
25 companies here with me from Finland. We have 250 companies that are established here in China. So it's always good when you come to a country which has such an important role in world politics to learn and live, and that's where the uniqueness comes from. I appreciate it. I was very appreciative. We really, really appreciate it.
Speaking of cultural and people-to-people exchanges, actually this time a major move is that China offers the visa-free entry to Finland. How do you understand its significance?
I think it's great. We really, really appreciate that. It came as a little bit of a surprise. I mean, I'd heard that some a very pleasant surprise. So when the president told me, I was, said, "Xie." I was very appreciative. And then I talked to some of our businesses in the evening when we had a reception afterwards. And they were super excited because they said that for them, just to travel to China was always complicated. Yeah, now it's much easier. And it'll be much easier for people to travel to China, which I appreciate. I very strongly believe in exchange and understanding. We have 3,000 to 4,000 Chinese students in Finland, but we only have 200 to 300 Finnish students in China. So, I'm going to go home and give some recommendations and suggestions. Say, hey, why don't you go and do an exchange in China? Because you learn something. You live in a different culture, the different perspective on life, and you probably come out of that experience much richer.
进行了非常深入的战略沟通，那么就加强我们双边合作，达成了广泛的共识，也为我也愿意同你建立良好的工作上的关系，共同推进。保持中芬关系的长期稳定和健康的发展，那么成为中欧关系当中的一个重要的稳定性的因素。特别是2017年，两国元首共同决定将中芬关系确定为面向未来的新型合作伙伴关系，这一定位在中国的对外关系当中是独一无二的，它体现了中芬关系的特殊性。
We also very much hope that the EU-China relations will remain constructive and the cooperation continues in the key areas of shared interest. Also pleased to see the updated joint action plan, which encourages us to enhance our cooperation in carefully selected sectors, including low carbon development, energy transition, and circular economy.
Terveisiä luotijunasta Pekingistä Shanghaihin. Thanks for coming here. Thank you. Hello. Oh, ni hao. Thank you. 谢谢. Thank you. Nice to see you. How are you? Good? Good. 7. Okay.
Just checking, and it's working immediately. So I'm Chinese technologies. So if we want an order which is multipolar, I think it needs to be international, not national. If we want a balance, I wish we would have more Finnish students who have the courage to come to China to study, at least for a year, this exchange. And it's not so much about, picking up the language, because, Chinese and Finnish are equally difficult languages to pick up. But the bottom line is that you come with a completely new perspective.
I've been an avid student of international relations. The nation states still rule supreme, and we ended up with world. If you don't change the multilateral institutions to reflect what...
That's about 25 countries, and the undisputed leader of that group is China, probably along the same lines. So what they have in common probably have a very close link also to the Global East? Well, who's going to decide? And here the choices are, in my mind, fairly binary.
My 4-day state visit is coming towards an end, and we're flying out this evening from Shanghai, heading to Helsinki. And my message to all Chinese companies here is that Finland is a country that you can trust. We abide by the rule of law. We're straightforward. We like to do business. We're not always very open in our way of expression. But the bottom line is that Finnish companies are trustworthy to do business with.
Thanks for joining on CGTN. So how's your Chamber of Commerce operating, and what have you been busy with lately?
Our mission is to help Finnish businesses to succeed in China. We get a lot of relations. We organize matchmaking events with the Chinese counterpartners. Companies that are already established company here and been here a couple of years or 10 years or 15 years, they are all doing very well. And it was really, really eye-opening, the COVID time, you know, when almost the whole world collapsed. But it was quite an opposite. Finnish companies here, the Finnish subsidiaries in China, they do in China the products for Chinese market because this market is so huge. And many of them made record sales during the COVID time.
In your opinion, given the economic complementarity between Finland and China, what areas have the greatest potential for cooperation?
Green technology, including green energy and sustainability. Circular economy is one big group. Taking the China carbon neutrality target, China is developing super fast. I could have never imagined how fast this country is developing. But on that sector, I think our Nordic countries have a lot of innovations that Chinese companies still want to cooperate together with and further develop here in China. Second, I would mention is healthcare, and especially the aging population. Finnish population is the second oldest population in the world. And that's why we have very, very early stage started to focus on elderly care and how to improve it. And we have more engineers and ICT people per capita than other countries. Our public services are all digital. With our long experience with that, we can help each other.
Regarding the Finnish president visiting China, as someone working at the forefront of businesses, what are your expectations?
I'm super happy that our president is coming with such a big delegation, 3 ministers together. So, of course, mine and our expectations are super high. Last time when Finland and China made this kind of a joint action plan to enhance the business, and this plan was made for 4 years, so it ended like end of last year. I hope that something, this kind of concrete action point or a concrete paper is also done this time to enhance the business and collaboration, because the will on the both sides is here. So it's very important that we get the governmental support. Our countries already have the very good mechanisms like joint innovation funding mechanism. I hope that these kind of tools remain and even become more because they really encourage the SMEs with the smaller resources to take the huge step to go to a totally different market and culture and language environment to do the business.